dispute about this SSZ thing. Okay? And he said there were chances to make argument about it, but up to the third reading, there was no dispute about it, and now all of a sudden, after the third reading, comes the dispute. Now, if what he's saying is true,
Which it isn't true, because how could there be a discussion about something we were not informed about, right? Because even if the bar association and other entities are saying they were not really informed, how are we to know?
Listen here,
and remember again that even he, the prime minister, was distancing himself from it in the beginning. So for him to now come and say up to the first, no, we have a good memory, and we have him trying to step away from it and saying, well, this is to do with Nevis. I have no jurisdiction over what Nevis has done and so forth. Go ahead.
Yep, but listen here, Quint. If what he said is true, that up to the third reading there was no dispute about it, okay? Now, with all due respect, he has a point. Okay, I'm not going to tell you why he said that. Come back to the opposition.
Look, I hear you, but I'm not going to let you just throw that in and use it as an excuse. I hear you. The opposition has been missing in action, but the truth is, we were not properly informed. We know more about this now than we knew back then when they were passing the bill.
Yeah, but the opposition is part of the process in properly informing us too. Not only the government, but the opposition as well. So all of them to blame.
I do not disagree. I agree with that, but I do not want you to use it as an excuse that the prime minister now saying that there was no disagreement before.
No, I'm using it as putting on additional blame on the opposition as well, because even before this thing went to Parliament, they were informed about it, and they should have studied it. And even before the first reading, they should have making a big uproar about this in the public market.
I agree. And this is
what informing us is the opposition job as well.
That is why I said, and I'm going to reiterate, I was so disappointed. I'm so disappointed in Dr. Timothy Harris. He's a seasoned veteran. I mean, we understand this thing about the speaker and all that kind of stuff, but there are other forums. Find a way of getting on different forums and letting your voice be heard.
Yeah.
Get something where you can go and we can hear you on YouTube expressing. Find some means, because you are the opposition. So yes, I agree. And then the other opposition, which is the People's Action Movement, again, they're weak there. I don't want to say certain things because people are going to feel that I'm going to be picking on them because they have a woman as the leader. This has nothing to do with a woman as the leader, because the leader of the People's People's Labour Party is a man, and I'm saying that he's just as much to blame. So don't come and think that you're going to come and say, I am saying, I am agreeing with you 100%, Greg. The opposition should have been okay with this informing us. And the fact, up to now, they're not. Every time there's this particular individual who's associated with the PAM party, and he calls in frequently. And he's the only voice I'm hearing. You understand?
Yes.
I understand that Nubian has his show, but I'm not speaking about Nubian. You want to tell me only Nubian and this caller who calls in, and then Azad, they're the only three people associated with the PAM party? I want to hear more from the leader herself. I want to hear enough from the leader so that I can feel like, okay, she's going to be dynamic when she gets in power. She's going to be, So I agree with you.
But Quint, I'm going to say this. To me, in my opinion, Azad should have been the leader, with all due respect.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
Of the PAM, because to me, he looks like he's the most active, with maybe second Nubian.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well,
so he looks to me like the most active. He's more out there in protests and that sort of stuff. So to me, he's the best one for the leader.
Okay, and let it be known that is Greg's opinion, not
That's
Quint's
my opinion.
Okay, not Quint's opinion.
That's my opinion.
I'm neither
but what
here
I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that the government ain't gonna inform us on things that they know we're gonna disagree with them, but they wanted to go to they ain't gonna inform us. But the opposition now supposed to inform us. And we're supposed to be hearing you in the House of Assembly, and even before the bill comes.
I'm kind of suspecting, and I hope I'm wrong, but this is the conclusion I've come to, and people can say what they wish, but when you don't get answers, you speculate, you assume, you come to your own conclusion, and my conclusion I come to, again, I could be 100% wrong, is that the reason why the opposition is silent is that perhaps if they were in power, they might have been doing the same thing.
Well, we all kind of think alike on certain issues.
Yeah, because if you're so silent, and we're seeing all these things coming up and you're quiet, I question why are you quiet? If you were in the leadership, would you be going along with this? I mean, that is
right.
Yeah.
Because they are supposed to be informing us as well.
Yeah.
Secondly, and Johnny got a bit mixed up with history here. Africans were not, well, it appears to me, let me put it this way, it appears to me, seems to me, that he probably was saying that African only come to know about alcoholic beverages from the time the European went to Africa. It appears to me that he was saying that. I could be wrong. Maybe I
think what he's saying is they were aware of alcoholic beverages. What he's saying, this alcohol was used. That's the key word here. Was used to bombard them, to keep them for a particular reason. And I further extended it by saying that was done to the American Indians. That was done with the Chinese when the British made sure they made an influx of opium into China. That was done in the U.S. where they made sure that cocaine infiltrated the black community. Yeah, that's.
Yes, I understand him in saying that. I understand that part that he said.
Yeah.
I understand that part that he said. Because what I would like to say is that Africans, for thousands of years, has been making and using palm wine, especially in West and Central Africa. For thousands of years now, Africans have been using and making palm wine, and palm wine is one of the oldest alcoholic beverages known to man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Lastly, I would like to say, God is Lord of all, creator of all, and He have the right to do with us as He so feels like, because all of us from day one deserve instant death from God, because the wages of sin is death, both physical and spiritual in eternal hellfire. The wages of sin is death. So God deserves to kill any one of us or all of us anytime He feels like. But because of His mercies, He have us to live for years. He have many of us to live for years and years upon years. But from day one, we deserve death because of our sins. Thank you very much, Clint.
Yeah, okay. I'm not even going to touch that one. I'm going to leave that one alone for next time. Okay. I promised I'd go into this SSZ, and in particular to the first caller who asked me if I listened to Mark Brantley yesterday. Now, here's what I was going to say. I don't want people to ever get me wrong. I'm the kind of person, if you know me, I walk alone, I mind my own business, I have an opinion like anyone else, but I only express it because I'm here on this show. I have a job to do, and I feel that if I know something or I perceive something, I should be in a position to express it as long as it doesn't negatively impact anyone or negatively affect the medium on which I speak, which is winnfm 98.9. Hello, caller? Okay. Hello, caller?
Quint.
Yes.
No. I realize that you want to go into a clip, but just let me say this quickly.
No, not a clip. I said I want to go to speaking to the SSZ. But anyone who wants to speak on any topic, you can go off and speak on whatever issue you feel inclined to.
Yes. Now, let me say this, Quint. We have a book we have a book as a benchmark. And the book was written by people who claim that they were inspired. I am saying this, Quint. If Africa is the cradle of civilization, then before the book we'll have what our ancestors carved in stones. I'm referring to the pyramid text, Quint. No, that is what was translated or wholly inspired. Now let me point our caller, Gregory, to Deuteronomy chapter 32. And yes, I do it, Greg do it, Mrs. Henry does it. Because the book has quotes and text here and there. In that same very book that we have as a benchmark, it says this here, and it says the same thing contrary there. For instance, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not hate. It also says, anyone call a man a fool is condemned of death. Then it says, the Son of God said, oh, you fools. Now, here we are that we're going to say, in what context? Well, let us put context on online for a moment and say, look at the writers, Quint. Are the writers who claim that they were wholly inspired any different to how we see them today? I mean, look at when our leaders go to the United Nations. These are people, and again, like Mark Mahan said, and this is what I come to recognize, they have studied us. Now they gave us all the thou shalt not, Quint, but they themselves have done it. They told us in their literature, in this book, lay your treasures up in heaven, but where are they building theirs? They tell us we must lay our treasures where moth and thieves cannot enter. But who are the thieves who are thieving our inheritance today, Quint? The very same writers who claim that they were wholly inspired. Now, let me point out Deuteronomy 32, verse 8. And I want anyone who is hearing me, Quint, to read the chapter from the beginning. Because in verse 8 it says, and when the Most High gave out the inheritance to the sons of Adam, he gave out their inheritance. The Most High, Quint. This is not God doing this. It said the Most High. We need to understand when we read these words, because Quint, Genesis 1 and 2 gives me two different creations. God, in Genesis 1, created male and female in his image, and there was no description as to how that creation was created. Genesis 2 tells me Lord God created Adam from spitting on the ground and breathed the breath of life into what he formed up to become Adam. Yet we never questioned, was this Adam created a grown or was it a babe? Now, Quint, follow me. God, the Most High, divided the land with the sons of Adam, right? And then you go somewhere else in the book, and it says, I'm losing my train of thought here, Quint. Oh, yeah, yes. When God was speaking to whether Moses or whoever, the children of Israel, and he said, you shall have no other gods besides me. Why God didn't say there is no other gods besides me, Quint? Now, this is what I want our people to wrap their heads around. Ye shall have no other God besides me. What does that say to us, Quint? Why, if this is the creator of humanity, telling the Israelites that ye shall have no other, is he saying that there are other gods? And if these other gods, well, where are the African gods, Quint? Because, like I said, before the Bible, Africans on the African continent, they had their own morality, they had their tradition, their culture, and their spirituality before the Bible. And might I also add that in the Adam creation, our people on earth before the Adam creation, before God created Adam and Eve. I mean, what do we get when we read what we read in this literature? And again, I have to emphasize, Quinn, the writers, they are playing tricksology on us, because they are hinting to us here, and they are also hiding from us there. But I mean, Quinn, today, Quinn, we have information. Everything is coming to us, but yet we are still believing. Well, I'm not believing, Quint. I am knowing because I connect with those who were before me. When I look at the history and all of the event that was committed, I'm seeing the writers put what they put in the what they have done to our ancestors, Quint. But they tell us only Jesus rose from the dead. Well, if Jesus is the only one rose from the dead, are we speaking to a living flesh rose from the dead or a spirit? Because my ancestors, they are not dead. The flesh dies, the spirit lives on. So I have to remember my ancestors, Quint. But you see, my Christian brothers and sisters, look at us today, Quint. Quint, am I on?
Yeah, you're on. I had another caller. They were waiting, but I guess they hung
Quint,
up.
I'm going to finish just now. Look at us today, Quint. We like to dress up on a Sundays and a Wednesday and we go to church, but the very same people who gave us their literature, they are cruising the world, Quint. They are building their empires. The Bible is a library of books, and I want our people to understand what we're reading, because they are hinting to us, but yet we are not getting it. We're just going along to get along by belief by faith. But faith is not stupid. We can't be stupid and foolish at the same time. Knowledge is superior to faith. The book never said, come let us have faith together. He said, come let us reason together. I'll leave it there, Quint. Let's hear what Gregory has to say.
Well, it's not just about Gregory. You're speaking to a whole wide audience, so don't narrow it down to just Gregory alone. If you're speaking to the Christian audience, then it goes to every Christian who's listening. Hello, let me take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
And I'm back with you. The time is 10:33, and we just heard Journey for a while. Let me go back to the phone lines. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Good morning.
Good day.
You ready for me?
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
All right. I'm ready. I hear the thing just start. Good morning. Good morning, Journey. Journey, very interesting. It's us and them is what killing Journey's analysis. Us and them. Well, between us and them, there are other tribes, ethnic groups. And if you start up by saying the original people were black, then the Bible said black people. Who said that some of them, the writers, are not black? And this thing about they didn't write the Bible. But, in trying to prove that black people alone are acceptable, we're defeating the purpose of the analysis. I mean, if you saw bias, as bias, human beings are just so. Whether you're black, to white, or Chinese, whatever. The heart of a man is desperately wicked.
I have often said, and I reiterate, there might be many who don't want to admit it, but I've often said, every other race across the face of the earth came out of the black race.
Well, I believe that too. Because if you say that the black were the original, well, God didn't have a make yellow over there.
Yeah.
The analysis is weak. A lot of people come with it, and they make black people look stupid when they come. So, black people that didn't have this, they had religion like everybody else. Even within the clan, family had their own gods, and they give us a God. They had to give nobody no God. You either believe or you don't believe. I like him, but he way off and God is a murderer. We just say, who know you? Who don't know you, call you. Who know you?
Well, some of
call
the
you by your name.
in his defense, some of the things that he exposed, I don't disagree with. Right? I do not.
Too far out.
I do not adhere to every aspect, but like I said, he's learning still. But some of the things.
I tell him so, but he needs to do more research.
But look, we cannot deny the fact that they imposed certain things upon us. Those of us.
That's true.
Yes, so that is.
But that does not wait. It doesn't mean that we did not know.
No.
People are assuming that we were so ignorant. That's not true. And even in slavery, some blacks couldn't read.
That is why I use the word impose, because, for instance, they knew, just like to strengthen what you said, they knew we came and we had a certain amount of knowledge, but this is why they this is why they would beat things into us. For instance, when you saw the fictitious movie Roots, yes, the movie might have been a fiction, but it was stemmed from the reality where they would get you. They say, "What is your name?" "My name is Kuta Kente." Bam! Hit. "What is your name?"
But all were not like that.
I'm not. The question is not whether all was like that. The question is that they did this to some of us who came down here, and they imposed it on. Yeah, and they're still doing it. Look at what they're doing today. They come today. You're a poor so-called developing country. You want some help. They have all the money and all the wealth because they've exploited us for 400 years, and they want to. They say they're going to give you help, but yes, still you have to sign on to this. You can't do that. You can't even go and cull the monkeys. Presently, our leaders here in St. Kitts Nevis, our agriculture minister, seem to be afraid to cull the monkey because he's going to grumble and say, "Well, Peter going to
go." They have hunting, don't me look. You see, we don't educate ourselves properly. In those countries, they have hunting season.
Yes, they do.
Well, so that if you know that, then when you do your argument, because you see, we're very weak in argument.
I agree.
It can be shown. You could quote in what state. You got they're written. But
I say that to say that it shows that what they did worked to some extent. Yes, it worked because, as you said, the minds of our... So, Sylvian, here's the fact. Do we admit the fact that the minds of the majority of our leaders are weak?
because they're not properly educated. If you, I am a teacher, economist, statistician, the whole works. But I've done a lot of research. I don't come with a one-sided argument. That's sometimes my good friend Greg does it.
Yeah.
You must examine all the sides.
That's it.
Because if you, anybody who have any sense, know that your argument is unbalanced.
I listened to an interview with the leader for Guyana, right? Afran Ali, right? That happened a year ago with this British individual on a program called Hard Talk.
Right, and he put the man in his place.
He put the man in his place. He said, "You don't come and lecture me." So why can't our leaders when our leaders go and they want us to sign off that you must take care of the monkeys, you don't call, you don't this, why can't our leaders say, but like you were saying just a while ago, but they do hunting, you do hunting,
yeah,
you have
so
a season to do hunting.
You produce the act in the state.
That's
so they're not guessing.
Yes, you said it. And
that's how we do analysis.
So why they don't do...
Oh, let us kill and with...
I mean...
So the act, the whatever. They could kill birds, they could kill... You know what I mean?
Sylvine...
But we know we cannot negotiate, number one.
We cannot. Sylvine,
because
for the life...
We don't do enough research.
Sylvine...
Because the truth is, let me tell you, wait. You know, some of these meetings, the other country leaders don't go.
Yeah.
They don't go. They got Zoom. Because they have a country to run.
Yeah.
And you see what we're not doing adequately. We're not training our people in these areas. Not enough. You may go one or two.
Yeah.
Like the chap was talking this morning about agriculture. Make better offers. We want some agriculturists. If you want to go and do it, then we reduce maybe your interest rate. Right? 'Cause I did agriculture, development and policy, not the growing, the policy section.
Yeah.
I did labor economics. And I chose them deliberately because, as I say, this is an agricultural country. And we got this labor union and labor rights. You know what I mean? If you begin to offer these kind of, well, they didn't offer me, I chose them. These kind of things to the students who you're giving scholarship, you get a better result.
Sylvine, you made a point earlier, and I'm going to kind of elaborate on it. The point you made where you said some of these leaders, they don't go to these forums, they go on Zoom. Why is it our Caribbean leaders don't want to go on Zoom? Why is it they know their country is struggling with debt, and yet still they want to jump on a plane and travel all over the world, spend their country's money, then come back, they can't fix the road, they can't fix the hospital, they can't give adequate health care, but they're jumping all over the place, and this is why they find themselves in a desperate position now. Let me finish this point, Sylvie. Now they find themselves in a desperate position where some people come and say they're going to be investors, but hear what they want. They want this massive amount of land. It's not supposed to be an industrial complex. They're not going to lease it. They want to buy it. And our leaders are they're bending over backwards to defend them and not their people.
Ideas. They need money, and that's the only way.
They don't seem to understand that the people who voted for them are not stupid, you know. We're not stupid. We see what is happening.
We acting so.
A lot of us, perhaps. But here's the thing.
Yeah, because look, the same thing. Look what Johnny does say. He making the assumption that black people are stupid. I tell him so. The reason he used, they did this and they did that to us. Black people are intelligent, and to be jumping. If you don't know the Bible, study properly. Don't from pick.
Well, you all who use
he could do a study of the Bible.
Sylvie, with all due respect, you cannot deny that most of the preachers who are jumping on the pulpit and preaching, they're picking, because I grew up in the church, and I know there are passages in the scripture that I've never heard a preacher touch yet. That they don't speak about certain things where the Bible tells you how to develop yourself and your people and that kind. They're gonna speak over and over about
talk about wisdom,
they're gonna
knowledge and understanding.
They're gonna speak about tithes. They're gonna speak about I mean, you could hear. Look, you could. I could go into almost any church today, and they're speaking the same thing they did when I was a young boy.
But you see, people like me, I just ask questions, I don't put up my hand, you know. Sometimes the pastor don't like it, but I ask him questions. I did some Bible study myself.
I mean, when I listened to Mark Brantley the other day, and then our Prime Minister after, both of them coming and trying to push this thing, I mean, I am really annoyed, and I am surprised that the majority of Kittitians and Nevisians are just passively going along, as Journey tends to say, going along to get along. You understand? I mean, I respect the Prime Minister, you know. I respect him. I don't want him to fail. But it is the same like I have sons. I respect my sons. I have daughters. I respect my daughters. I don't want to see them fail. But if I see them doing something, I can't tell them how to live their life. But if I see them doing something and I don't agree with it, I'm going to tell them. Right?
You have a right to. You have a right to.
So it seems as
because
if
the action have an impact on you.
Yes, it seems as if though our leaders feel that because we love them, we can't tell them nothing.
You like to beg. You love to beg.
I mean, when I look at you, a young man, he has this. You could see the strain on him, right? I don't like the fact that he has all this pressure. But how is he going to deal with pressure? You're going to deal with pressure by doing a proper assessment of why are you being pressured and how are you going to deal with it. You don't deal with it by trying to brush aside what people say. In the nighttime when you lay down, in your bed and the issues face you, you have to come up with solutions. Okay, Sylvian, it seems as if though you're otherwise engaged.
Yeah. All right then.
Okay.
I'll be about that.
Yeah, so let me go to another caller. Okay, missed that caller. Caller, you can call back before I take a commercial break. But it is frustrating. Sometimes a lot of our leaders, it seems as if though a lot of our leaders around the world, whether black, white, green, whatever color, they feel that if you disagree with something they did, it is because you hate them. It is because you want to see them fall, right? They don't seem to stop me. I am a rational. If I'm talking on the air and you call and you say, Quint, I don't agree with what you say, I'm going to listen to what you say. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to listen to it earnestly, and I'm going to assess it while you're speaking. And if I see where I'm wrong, I'm going to say to you, I agree with you. Okay, maybe I erred there. It doesn't happen that often because I try my best to walk a line where I don't make much mistakes, but I do. I'm a human being. And if I do and you can point it out to me, I'm not going to hate you for it. How many times you hear me and Greg get in a heated debate? How many times you've heard, for instance, this caller who more defends democracy as opposed to he thinks I'm a socialist, and I've had a heated debate or two with him, right? That doesn't mean I hate him. I don't. We have got to learn to be mature people. You're supposed to be able to express yourself, and it's nothing about hate, and respect each other after that. Hello, caller.
Good day.
Good day.
Yes, this is so related to what a caller this morning said about the media. I agreed with him totally.
Yeah.
Right? When he expressed disappointment with the media newscast.
Yes.
Right? It really does appear that there are extensions of SKNIS.
Yes.
That's the government information.
Yeah, I said it. I said it this morning.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if it's lazy journalism or editorial.
It's comfortable journalism. It's comfortable. Yeah, it's comfortable journalism. Yeah, they don't seem to.
You don't think it's a deliberate policy by the media to trot out government propaganda, because after all, government contributes a lot to the
I think it's deliberate in the vein that it's comfortable. You see, because just like you said, they know that the government is going to pay for so and so. But here's what they don't seem to understand. Medias, real medias, which we have very few of them now, real medias, they pay you what is called, do you know, I'm sure you're well aware that a lot of media, they get what you call risk pay and so forth, right? Because when you have to go into battle zones, when you have to come up with stories that are not really following the traditional line, they know that you take a risk, that your life could be in jeopardy and that kind of stuff, and you get paid for that. But our media, because we have been a zone of peace perhaps, we tend to follow these mild stories and we feel they're comfortable.
The media would not agree with you, They would say, listen, you can study about us not about us taking risks. Mm-hmm. We got mortgage to pay, we got families to feed,
yes,
etc., etc.
I agree. That,
right.
that is why I what I just
that's
said.
That's a risk as well.
So, but isn't it that the media is supposed to come out and bring here, let me put it this way. It seems to me that the media feel, because they've been told that you're not supposed to have an opinion, right? So the media feel that not having opinion, meaning that if you have a story, you cannot have a journalist who would say, well, okay, he said that, but this is what is happening. You understand? They don't do that. Right. They just bring, we're not saying go off on a tangent that is not factual, but how many other medias around the world we might find you have, you notice there are usually two, and one would say so and so, and the other one would say, but what about that? Or you understand what I'm saying?
Right, there's competition.
Yeah,
there's healthy competition.
They just follow this
not
narrow
here,
line.
Not here.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is, right, it's government money that's really, it's really public money, okay, that they're getting for whatever things they're doing. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. And so we expect the public to be well served when they have their newscasts and so on. We don't expect this sterile, predictable, boring, monotonous information that you could get elsewhere, right? We need media that will go above and beyond, okay, and give us, let's say, the story behind the story.
That's it.
For example, yesterday, right? I'll give you an example. In the round table yesterday, a reporter basically asked the question, what does the country get from these frequent overseas travel? Okay? At least one of them was brave enough to at least come straight out and ask and say, you're traveling too much.
Yeah.
Right? The Prime Minister's answer was predictable. Well, not all travel is paid for by the state, by taxpayers. And he mentioned, I think, one or two projects being funded by Saudi Arabia, and said that he had to travel in order to close the deal or whatever. Okay? Now, that answer, I think, is unacceptable in the sense that, yes, he has to do that, okay? But it was the frequency that was asked about.
That's it.
Okay? The reporter then should have
followed up.
Right. He should not have been content with that answer. So it's not just the Prime Minister doing a lot of traveling, right? It seems like it's all the ministers, right? And so I would expect that the reporter would have asked something like, well, what was the travel budget, let's say last year, or do a comparison pre and post-COVID, okay, to see if it is in fact exorbitant. And remember that when these people travel, they get a per diem, whether somebody's paying for it or not, paying for the travel itself, but they get a per diem for being out of the country, right? And bear in mind that they gave themselves a raise. Okay, and I always said that you can't tell me what the salaries, the annual salaries, is for any minister, because what you should tell me is the annual income from the public purse. Because when these per diem and perks and all right, And so I would have expected the reporter to go deeper and ask for the Prime Minister, even if you don't have it right here at this one, at the next one, to report on how much is paid from the Treasury for all this traveling.
But hear this. But here, I agree with you. But hear this. It seems to me, I could be wrong, but it seems to me like either they tell you you only can ask one question at a time, or you can only ask two or three one time, and then next thing you know, they draw out the time. It seems as if though they are controlling what the media, the time span, how you ask it, and that kind of stuff. So you might find. So you might find the media might have asked the first question that you stated, but when he's trying to do a follow-up, somebody's going to, the press secretary is going to cut in and say, no, we have to take another question. You understand? So they do all these things.
They do those, well, I call them dirty tricks, right?
Yes.
Because they know exactly what they're doing, right? And then you have these long-winded answers.
Yeah.
The worse than myself.
Hold a second. We have another caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Okay, that caller missed. Yeah, so go ahead.
Right? They have this bad habit, all of them, giving these long opening remarks and long-winded answers to questions. Mm-hmm. It would be good, I think, if reporters can ask some questions that don't involve, don't send them down some rabbit hole somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. When you listen to, especially Mark Brantley's press conference, they usually are very, very long, right?
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is it that he comes on and he spends a lot of time speaking on issues that I term them as bulletin board issues, where he's talking about certain things that are happening, and he spends a lot of time on these things that are happening in a society that a radio station can have them as bulletin board. In this morning, the St. Kitts Cricket Club is going to be having so-and-so, the knitting club is going, all these things. And then when it comes to the real meaty issues, he'll usually leave them to later down when he's almost about to finish. And when you ask him questions, he's going to tell you, I don't have the facts here, I don't have the information here. But so this press conference has been ongoing for a long time, for years. So you want to tell me you're always coming without, at no time you have no information that you can use?
No facts, no figures.
You understand?
It's padding, right? And that's why I call it. That's why I call it dirty, right? Or underhand, because they know exactly what they're doing when they do these things, and then have the nerve to come and say, "Well, this is a practice in transparency and open government and all of that, accountability and all of that." You know full well what they're doing is withholding information or just giving the public information they want to give.
You know what was interesting with Mark Brantley's last thing, where he was saying, we've heard him at times say the government doesn't have land in this area. Then we hear that something about the government having land. Then yesterday he's saying the government don't have land, but then he found out the government has land, but it's not registered land. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? It's either you have land or you don't have land.
That has been the story of this whole destiny thing, okay? When I listened to Jensen the other day at the press conference, I realized that even their story keeps changing.
Yeah.
What they're doing is I must give them, though, that they're listening to voices out there. Mm-hmm. And depending on what the voices are saying,
they change their
story. They adjust to suit.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And to strengthen that point, you realize that with the last interview they had, they really bashed our leaders.
Oh, yes.
They said things
it
like,
really made them look bad.
yeah, they said things like,
Because
they knew this has been an ongoing thing. They knew about this and they knew about that, and they even go as far as to say they're surprised at the way the government is disseminating the information. It is not appropriate and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself, you see what happens when you're supposed to be the leader of a people, and instead of defending the people, you're defending them, and now they come and they throw you under the bus.
And they throw them under the bus.
Yeah.
you know? And that is my fear with this thing. That the leaders who are supposed to be negotiating and so on are weak, as was mentioned before.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know who they're dealing with. They haven't done their homework. But these people have done their homework.
Yes.
And know exactly the leaders they're dealing with, and what would rile up people, what will persuade people their way of thinking, and they adjust accordingly.
They adjust
right?
accordingly.
These people didn't become billionaires by being stupid.
That's it.
The homework. The homework. Okay?
And that is
so
what,
now we have.
that is what I keep saying. I keep saying, and you say it too, we keep telling them these people are savvy people. This thing out there is a cutthroat thing. This isn't a little pamby-namby little schoolboy thing. When you jump in the arena, you remember when we were growing up, there you used to be, saying by our elders, don't jump in the bullring if you cannot fight.
Yep. That's exactly what happening now, right? And what's interesting though is in changing their story. Okay. Well. First of all, I found what he said kind of condescending about the libertarians.
Yes.
Right. He was defending libertarianism. Okay. And saying, well, Nevisians are more closely aligned with libertarian thinking.
Yeah.
In terms of their approach to government, not trusting government and being, don't want government interfering in their lives too much and those kinds of things. Right? Imagine he come telling us that.
Yeah. And here's another thing he said. He said, and this really irritated me, where he said, so because they're libertarian, they can't come here to do business? I mean, you understand these guys?
I mean, could you imagine? And not only that, the Jensen himself said he don't want to bring 10,000 libertarians here. He wants to bring 10,000 families. Which you think is worse? 10,000 families suggest there's a multiplier effect.
And
they're going to be pressure on schools. They're going to build schools in the zones. Maybe I don't know.
You see that last statement that you made there? This is what people keep missing, And this is what our governments, our leaders, both Mark Brantley and the federal cabinet down here, they don't understand. How is it that you're telling us this special zone is supposed to be an X amount of land, but it's supposed to be bought, one, which we don't want. Number two, it's not going to be business, which is what they said these zones were supposed to be business. It's supposed to be residential. It's supposed to be people coming and living there.
Yeah, right. Actually, somebody asked him, well, what about the hotels? It seems as if you're not talking about the hotels. And then he mentioned that, well, we're negotiating with some top brands and we can't really say too much about it. But I one of the things he stressed was that people want to come here because they want to protect their families. They want their families to be safe. And he was very insistent about security in the zone, to the point where he actually said that the kind of security that they would employ in the zone might be something that the government generally can take cognizance of, emulate, and that depending on how you look at it, that sounds very ominous,
But that's what I'm thinking. Those are the statements why we should be afraid of this thing. You understand? And here's another thing that he said. And it shows that they're not prepared and they sound so. Look, I'm trying to be nice, but they sound so ridiculous. Mark Brantley said they're renegotiating because they hadn't thought about if they were to discover something valuable there like oils or minerals. Could you believe
Imagine
that
that.
he's saying they hadn't thought about that?
Thought of that?
all that
Could you
massive
imagine?
all that massive land goes across a whole mountainside, and you're going to give it to some people, sell it to them, and you didn't think about whether you're now only thinking about whether. I mean, these people are crazy. With all due respect, forgive me for my words, but I can't use more mild terms. I'm thinking to myself, does this man listen back to the things that he says? So you
the thing about it is, the thing about, apart from when he threw them on the bus, when he was saying that he has been essentially negotiating with both the NIA and the federal government
Yes.
for a while, right? I mean, that in itself, I mean, I'll be nice and say that in itself showed that we were being misled by, both the Premier and the Prime Minister.
We were.
Because they gave the impression, one gave the impression that, nothing happened in the home.
Yeah.
That's rumors.
Yeah.
And the other said,
I don't have anything to do with over there, I mean, this is Nevis business.
I just heard something, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? That I mean, he made them look like liars, right?
Well,
and the mere fact that he feels emboldened to come straight out, and actually he said that, I wanted to have town hall meetings. He suggested town hall meetings long before this, and they were opposed to it. I mean, the mere fact that he feels emboldened to come out with things like these,
and you
that
hear
make
that?
our leaders look bad.
And you hear that? You hear what he's saying? You hear what he says? You hear what he says? I was proposing town hall meetings and they were opposed to it. And yet still we're hearing our leaders talking about we were well informed. Informed by whom? When? How? Where? And my other point to that is this. It shows you that they have no respect for our leaders, right?
Right. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
They have no respect for our leaders.
So you could imagine when they own that zone over there, what they're gonna do? Huh? I mean, people.
And that is why actually when he had the interview, I called him, right? He probably didn't understand. I take his word for it that he didn't understand the first part of the question.
Yes.
But basically, I was asking why. Remember when Brantley said that the developers wanted to be under an SSC.
Yeah.
Why was an SSC necessary? And the second thing I asked was, why not give concessions for locals to be able to live in the zone as well? So you have a kind of a mixing. You don't have this separateness that the zone suggests. Okay? And interestingly enough, he gave the impression that, that would be a possibility.
Yeah.
Okay? But the thing is, if you don't negotiate these things in advance,
But Mr. McMahon,
they can basically do what...
But Mr. McMahon, English is a funny language. It can be a possibility, doesn't mean that it will be a fact.
That it will happen.
You understand?
Right.
That is a diplomatic answer that lets you move on to the next question.
Yes. I mean, saying that, you want to come, you want to be part of Nevis, that ain't going to happen. The thing is, right, they can do, that is why the negotiations, the fine print is so important. They can, for instance, suppose, say, in this economic zone, no vehicles, only electric vehicles will be allowed in. Now, obviously, that's going to kill, that prevents, I mean, how many thousands of people from going in there, right? It limits access straight out of the door.
Yeah.
Okay? There's little things like this, and that is why I suggested, it was some other forum.
But unlike you, I don't suggest anything when it comes to here's my thing. My stance point blank is that we do not I've said it. I've said it to the Attorney General when he sat across from me. We do not want, I say we because I'm hoping that collectively the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are on the same mindset, because I can't stand on my own. We do not want any massive amount of land to be sold to any one entity for any reason.
And we don't want the massive influx of people that are going to swamp our existing population.
That could be an extension.
That's a problem.
That it is
right?
a problem.
But what I was suggesting was that the scale back the project. Let's take him at his word. Let him demonstrate good faith, right? Build a hotel, okay? Build some villas. Nothing bigger than the Four Seasons, let's say.
I agree. I agree.
You do that, right? And that at least will give people confidence about what you're about. Let's see how he operates that. And,
but
rather than,
but I don't
in
like,
other words, salvage something from the project.
But I don't like. I'm careful, listen to me. I think sharp, I think long term. Are you suggesting that if he comes and does these things, which I agree with up to that point, that eventually we're going to allow him to buy a massive amount of land?
But he already has it. He has concessions on it.
As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't have it. And you see, this is what they're trying to sell us. Mr. McMahon, you're a savvy thinker. Why do you think he's coming and trying to sway the thought process towards a different thing? This is a diplomatic move. It's a move to make sure, I've said it from the very beginning, all these people are doing are stalling for time. While Mark, you hear what Mark said, Mark says he doesn't envision that this year finishes and the new year start and they're still negotiating.
And both of them are on the same page with that,
This is the scary thing.
Same thing the developer is saying.
This is the scary thing. So here's it. No wonder why when Mark had that thing and he said, just tell us what you want, and we heard a resounding no, he said the ayes have it. Because their intention is that they will do this.
Already.
That's it. So
I see what you mean, but the thing is, he didn't answer. Somebody asked him that, how much land you already have. I don't think he answered directly, okay? But the impression I'm getting is that they either have some large sections of land or they have concessions for it.
Look.
Okay? So what do we do? So what do we do if they already have large sections of land? Okay? I'm saying that you salvage something from the project by negotiating, let's say, something like another Four Seasons. And I was also suggesting that based on the fact that so many groups in society, the chamber, the law people, the Nevis Conservation Society, or whatever the thing is, the opposition, broaden, make the negotiating team larger, right? Make it more inclusive. Because if it's such a good project for Nevis and the Federation, then you'd want everybody to buy into it.
It's not a
How do you get buy-in?
Look, I don't follow.
Yeah, I know it ain't going to happen. I know.
Because that's what I'm saying. Look, Mr. McMahon, have you seen the video that they produce that shows Destiny?
Yes, I've seen it.
You understand the kind of millions this is going to take? Billions it's going to take? This is a long-term thing. I've listened to where people in Africa and different parts of the world are trying to do certain developments and do ports and that kind of stuff, and you hear it's taking 8 years and all that kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look at Christopher Harbour.
That's what I'm saying. So here's this big. This is 10 times, 50 times bigger than Christopher Harbour. Okay. This is a massive thing that comes across a whole mountainside, almost like a bowl. And then you have the sea in front of that. And you're telling me, you see, what these people don't understand, and this is what I want my people to understand, because we're in a modern era where AI can produce things quickly, these people have been producing things that look like what we used to call all that glitters is not gold. They show this glittering thing, and you're thinking that you want jobs, and you don't see. Look, Mr. McMahon.
But Quint, here's a fact that you have to recognize.
Yes.
He said there were 1,500 applications for jobs there. That is not a small number.
But how?
So what I'm saying is that it's been sold on
but Mr.
a lot
McMahon,
of people.
Mr. McMahon, I'm not sure if that is a fact either. That is him saying it. You understand? I don't see any proof. Look, you can't come and tell me this is where negotiate. This is why our leaders are not negotiators. You can come and tell me you had 1 million. You can tell me you had one. Show me the paper. You understand? If you don't show me the paper, you don't tell me nothing. And this is what. So all of this is psychology. If I come and I say, "Oh, I have 2 million," it's going to encourage more people. And next thing you know, they have 2 million when they didn't have 2 million at the time they told you. But because of that statement, everybody said, "Well, I want a piece of the pie, so I
want a piece of the action." Yeah. You could see the soft sell.
We must
you could see the marketing and the
I said it from the beginning. When you look at how they presented that destiny thing, you can see it's marketing. It is marketing with a psychological strategy behind it. It seems as if our leaders in the Caribbean are not ready for this kind of thing.
And of course, you had to throw in the fact that, well, if this don't come to pass here, he'll just go elsewhere.
Well, let him go elsewhere.
Hold on. Then you'll be saying, "I wish I had done this instead." You know?
But again, that is strategy. Again, that is psychology. Why are we letting? I mean, it's our leaders make us feel shame. You know, honestly, look.
The mere fact that basically we have a month to make up our minds about this thing, to close the deal, that in itself is pressure.
Yes.
Right? And I want to see how they're going to react to that. Well, Brantley already decided that he don't expect it to go beyond this year either.
Yes.
Okay? In other words, Nevis, the NIA at least, is all gung-ho for this.
Yeah.
Right? It's a done deal as far as they're concerned.
As far as they're concerned, yeah.
Now, and what I've been noticing on Facebook is that some divisions who are opposed are now saying, well, we give up on the Premier and the NIA. It's all in Drew's hands now. Yeah. Is he going to approve this? Because remember, he has the final sign-off, so to speak.
And this is why.
And could you, Quinn, imagine that the Premier says yes, and the Prime Minister says no?
I could imagine.
What's going to happen to the alliance between them?
I could imagine it. You see, the Prime Minister doesn't know how to play hardball. Then, right? I would say no. And what is Mark going to do? What he's going to do? Tell me tell me what is he going to do? You see, these people are not ready for negotiations, right? And I'm going to show you this point. You remember the other day when the DPP came here?
Yeah.
The Director of Public Prosecution. I have respect for that man. You know why? I watch him over there. And for most of the talking, he sat there, he was quiet, he didn't say anything, he didn't try to influx, and I watch him, and I'm thinking to myself, but why isn't he saying anything? And then when he had his time now, when his time came, he took control. You notice his antics, the way how he would lean back and do his hand, and this is a confident man. You understand?
Yeah.
And you notice when I interacted with him, he turned and he listened. And I interacted specifically on the guilty and the pressure, the point you just moved about this month that we have and the pressure. And I told him, just the fact that you have a time limit and this pressure applied, that if I don't come to a negotiation within that time limit, it is too much pressure on an innocent individual that would force him to make a guilty plea when he should not. You understand? We took a commercial break. The DPP came back, and you notice what he did? He said, "You're right. We cannot force someone to do that. And if you have any evidence of someone doing that, this is where you apply." That is the what a man is supposed to be. You understand? That a man listens, he understands, and then he says, "This is it." A fool, a stubborn, pig-headed fool says, "No, I don't want to hear. I am the prime minister. I am the premier. I don't want to," and they walk down a road and carry everyone into destruction. So now, when I hear and I see the DPP, I have immense respect for him. You understand? Because he listens, he assesses, and then he gives you a good answer.
Well, it was clear from the outset how he handled the Integrity Commission.
Yeah.
Basically prompting them to do their job.
That's it.
It showed that he was going to be different. So
Yeah.
he has a reputation to live up to. But you saying that the Prime Minister could just say no to Brantley. Are you sure that's going to upset the political apparat here?
And I asked you again, if it upset it, what is Matt Brantley going to do? Said at the next election he's going to break the alliance. Who he's going to align with? His credibility is in a big question mark right now. Who is he going to? His history. Look at his history.
But suppose he's a deal breaker or kingmaker, in the sense that, well, okay, let's for argument's sake, he has to. Actually, it only requires one seat, depending on the outcome of the election. Mm-hmm. One person can be a kingmaker with one seat, right? So what I'm saying is,
when you say kingmaker, elaborate on that, because are you saying that if he pulls out that he's going to be able to carry on?
I'm saying, for instance, okay, we don't know how the election numbers would turn out. Mm. I don't know how many the PLP might get, Labour would get, PAM, CCM, or NRP would get. But among the combinations there, right? If Brantley, because remember, he had essentially 3 seats last election.
Yes.
Right, in the federal election.
Yes.
So that gave him power over Dr. Jew, because remember Dr. Jew only has a 1-seat majority.
I disagree with you that it gave him power over Jew, but I understand what you're saying. I understand, and I agree with you to some extent. But you see, power is in the perception of the mind. If you sit down at a table and you're gambling, you know you have a hand that is most likely going to lose. But depending on how you play that game and how you carry yourself and your stature and your confidence, how many times people have walked away winners?
Bluffing could only go so far. Right?
Let me tell you, bluffing always works when you're dealing with cowards.
And bullies.
That's it. Okay. So hear this now. The Prime Minister says, no, I'm not going to follow through with this because upon assessment, I don't think that it is good for the long term of our existence as a St. Kitts Nevis entity. Right. Logically, tell me what Mark is going to do. But before you answer that, hear this. I was just about to touch Mark's history. Look at Mark's history. Mark's history is, he says he's a kingmaker, but he has been a breaker of all of the parties and alliances that he's been with. And then after he breaks them, he makes statement like, I was in the yard, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. Or, well, go to the Prime Minister, this is a federal thing, which he's doing now. So what is he going to do?
Suppose, for instance, that arrangement we have with geothermal, he pulls out of it.
And then who is he going to go to? This is what I'm saying. When he pulls out of it, who is he going to go to? Why did he wind up there in the first place? He wound up...
The Destiny people.
but the
They was talking about that yesterday too, the Destiny people. I mean,
that again.
You see, that's the whole thing,
But Mr.
I don't
McMahon,
think.
Mr. McMahon, you keep bringing up points that should make us afraid. Because again, here's it. You will not only want to sell big tracts of land to these individuals who are going to make it mainly a residential area, then you're now going to give them power over your electricity and your water, and your and then what? How are you going to move forward? What are you going to tell them when today he's showing he has no respect for our leaders on both sides by the statements he's making, and now he has autonomy. Autonomy for you young folks out there. He now has a position of power.
But you see, Dr. Quinn, if we do a little reset right now, okay, the impetus for an SSG came from the fact that they realized Nevis ain't going nowhere.
Yes.
Okay? It can't just continue to rely on the Four Seasons and so on by itself. They need some kind of development.
Yes.
Okay? And the problem for Brantley is that, and he's tried and failed. He at one point, he just threw up his hands and said, well, the investors come and said they're going to develop, and then they fall through.
But when
he has failed.
But when he
so
said
here now, at least right now, okay, because we weren't sure either. It sounds as if he's met a group of people, and they have not been vetted really and truly.
Yes.
Right? But he has found a group of people with really big pockets who, according to them, they've spent $20 million already on their plans, on their vision. Okay? That's a lot of money.
Where have they spent it? Here?
Well, that's a good question. No, it sounds as if in terms of the design and
well, that's their business.
But
look, that's their business. If you want to,
this is
where Mr. McMahon, we're looking at their interests. We need to stop looking at their interests what they have.
No.
Yeah.
No, the point I'm making is that Brantley has found a group of people who are very wealthy, okay? They're not fly-by-night people, all right?
I don't know how
and
wealthy...
that is what he's latching on to.
Let me interject this. I do not know how wealthy they are.
Well, okay, you can question whether or not they spend 20 million.
Yes, and I can also question whether they have the amount of wealth that they say they have.
Yes, I guess so. But to Brantley, I'm looking at Brantley's position. Brantley feels that they are bona fide investors.
Yeah.
From all appearances, Brantley / his wife may be doing pretty good business with them. Okay. Based on the land sales or real estate ventures.
And that brings up another question. That brings up another question that people should be concerned about.
And you know something? That was the ask of the investor, of the developer. You know what he said? That's always going to be an issue, especially with small countries. In other words, he was pretty much excusing it. Okay. And that in itself tells you something. If you were an investor in a country like this, okay, wanting to do business upfront, above board, everything, right? And you have to employ real estate people. You mean to tell me you're going to just concentrate on one?
Yeah.
And that one happens to be the Premier's wife?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Well, it makes sense if you feel you can influence the Premier by doing that.
Yes. And it also makes sense when we look in hindsight now and we hear him say, the developer say, I've been negotiating with both sides for this long time. And then we remember Mark saying, rumors? I can't speak to rumors. You expect me to come here and address rumors? And then we question, and this is the big question here. Why is it that one family, where one is a leader and the other is involved in land, and they seem to be the ones who would walk away with X amount of monies? Why is this? These are things that we're taking trivially. You must
Yes,
have known
I agree. I think yes.
This looks like this.
Most people are afraid to touch it because the regular responses to things like that. Well, what you want to tell me? Because I'm a criminal. My brother or my sister or my cousin or my wife ain't supposed to get work. And so they throw that at you.
Yeah,
or they throw this thing about
but hear this.
You grudge
but
or
hear
jealous
this.
or whatever it is.
But hear this, Mr. McMahon. But I always stay on point. This is what you must always do. And my point is this. Why is it that you and this family, this I'm going to word it because you have to be very careful. Why is it that one family have all the exclusivity? And giving the notion before that we don't know what is happening, this is rumors, but now we're told that you knew. So you knew, and now if we put one and one together and make it two, it is that now we say, oh, so no wonder why that family could have been exclusively dealing with.
And you see, but that's what I'm saying, Quinn, right? It's a sensitive subject that most people would prefer to keep away from. They would think about it in their head because you could bet your life that most people can add one and one and make two.
Yeah.
Okay? So they think about it, but come out openly and say it. I mean,
this is where the media failed. This is why I'm going to agree with you. The media should have worded it in ways, and this is another thing the media, and there's a caller who has been waiting, but we've been so engrossed that we forgot. So I'm going to let that person. The media need to learn to do tag teaming. If X asks a question and the person hedges and they don't answer, change the question in a little bit and ask the same question in a different wording. And you don't get an answer, and by the time they're going to realize that, okay, these people are, and they're going to either have to come and bring an answer or they look like fools.
That's a way to deal with how they tend to handle the media around here, like in the round table or the press conferences. Yeah, that's
the media needs to learn when teamwork. The media in these regions need to learn. You see it all over the world. You don't see it. You don't see. Sometimes a person asks a leader Trump a question, and he thinks he's going to go to a next one, and the person asks the same question. They do that all the time, but not we down here. We want to be, comfortable.
No, you have your question before, nice.
Yeah, and you can't segue.
Comfortable question, and you just stick to it. You got to listen to what the others saying and what the leader is saying, and then you pounce.
Yeah, so that is why we don't get any. That is why, Mr. McMahon, we don't get anywhere. We have spoiled our leaders. We have spoiled them with our passivity. Hello, caller. Sorry, my apologies. We really got carried away.
No problem. Interesting listening to you and Mr. McMahon. I'm listening.
Okay, I listen to him. I listen to him.
Yeah, offline. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
You ever hear a saying? I don't know if it was Henry Kissinger. You rob Peter to pay Paul?
Yes, I've heard that statement.
Okay. Now hear it. That was Christoph Harbour concept, and this is SSG's own concept. Because none of them pay off for the deal. How long it takes our government to get back, the National Bank to get back some money? How long it takes the National Bank Trust to get back some money? Mm-hmm. Okay? The same thing will happen to Nevis because unless it's a small chunk of land.
This isn't just Nevis, This is the same thing is going to happen to St. Kitts and Nevis because the federal.
No, but it happened in St. Kitts already, so it's just going to make a circle. What goes around comes around because, hey, it don't happen to St. Kitts already with Christoph Harbour.
Yeah.
And did Christoph Harbour the name that I'm hearing, Buddy Darby, did he pay out for everything? To say we made a mistake and we got to just move on but not make that mistake again? No, the same thing will happen again. And look at what is going on. All these land that has been bought, as it said, I stand for correction, all these landowners have been paid off in full, or they had an incremental time when to get paid off. That man has to do that development first. He has to make money to pay off for these lands. Okay? That they are trying to get and what they already have. They ain't pay off all the landowners. So he got to make money. So guess what? That SSD zone, that man gonna sell it. He gonna sell shares. And he gonna make his money gone. And those lands gonna be going from hands to hands to hands to hands.
Well, this is what that's one of the very, I must say, that's one of the usually I'm usually I don't conform with you, but you're right. This is why I say it's a pie in the sky. This is about getting a large amount of land. This is about being able to get through to, let's say, the next election, using something that can get you to the next election and perhaps win. And after you've won, then the people don't see anything happening, and now you own this large chunk of land and you can now speculate with it. You can become a really, really, really filthy rich person by you duping a people, right?
Okay, let me wrap
but anyway,
let me wrap up.
yeah, go ahead. I want to take a commercial break.
Yeah, in the light of this, right? I think all this deal, what it is right now, should be temporarily stopped. Don't do nothing until after this election coming up. Leave it the way it is. Let time pass. Let's head school after the election. Then, if the administration that is condoning this SSD zone, let it be determined after the election, but not now. I think it should be stopped. It's too much. It's bigger than all of us.
Well, I don't think that they're. I think that they're in a. I'm gonna. You're hanging up now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that they're gonna want to let it go, because again, we as people must think, and we must think wide. Here's the problem. You came in. You said we were putting too much emphasis on one thing, even though in truth and in fact, yes, it was a major breadwinner, but there were other things on a much minor scale, yes. But he says we're putting too much emphasis on one thing. What he should have done, he should have started putting emphasis on other things to the extent that we can see them play out. For instance, he said he was going to build this hospital. Start working on it. Perhaps he realized there wasn't the money. I don't know. The desalination, work on that to make sure we strengthen our electricity. Work on those three things. Get your country in a position where we can see how over time, in a short term, we can get certain infrastructural things in place. But no, it seems to me what was done is we're putting too much emphasis on this. This is my speculation, mind you. After they realized that, okay, we're going to try this thing, we're going to see if we can increase our salaries, which I think was a bad move, because now that your salary has increased, you've not proven your worth, and it's going to make people more grumpy that, well, you gave yourself a big salary and we can't see the results of it. So because of that desperation they found themselves in, they found themselves grasping at a straw. These developers now realize the plight that you're in because they're savvy individuals. They've been out there. They know how the game is played. They know the dirty rules of the game. So you're desperate, you turn to them, and they come with this psychological thing, and it is supposed to fool people to the extent where it gets you to the next election. But the people now are making a big thing about it. But you can't move away from it, because if you move away from it, what have you got? Here's the point I'm going to make. and I keep saying it all the time to Mark Brantley, rather than you, Mr. Mark Brantley, saying that it is impossible for you to do infrastructure in that area because it's going to be in the vein of 40 million or whatever. These are the few things you should have put emphasis on. You should have tried to get individuals who are going to work with you to the extent that you could get not this big lump sum one time, little bit, so you could do infrastructural development here and little infrastructural development there and so forth over time. Over all the years that you've been in there, what I'm saying is you should have been doing these infrastructural movements so that now you can say to a developer, okay, we have this area here, it already has water, it already has electricity, we'd like you to come and do some business endeavors there and so on and so forth. You can buy X amount of land once it's a certain size, but if you want a certain size, you would have to lease, because we do not intend to, relinquish the rights of ownership to our land and so forth. But no, they didn't do that. When governments cease to do the job that they were employed to do and do it in little bit, steps by steps, don't try. This is the problem. You cannot go in and try to bite off a big chunk. How long has Mark been a premier? What has Mark shown? That is the question. Drew just came in, so we can't say Drew is in a different scenario. Drew just came in. I felt that he should not have so bad talked the goose that laid the golden egg. You don't bad talk the one thing that is working for you, even though I don't agree with you selling, citizenship and that kind of stuff. But so they find themselves in a very precarious position, and over 2 years going in, it's kind of hard to backtrack. If I were them, I would go back to it might not be too late. I would go back to doing the infrastructural things that should have been done in the first place here. Those bits and pieces that would set the machinery into place for bigger things. Hello, caller. Okay, let me take a commercial break and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
The right time, right ride, right now at Horsefoots Automotive. Buy now or reserve for VAT discount days, Friday, December 12th and Saturday, December 20th, and get our lowest rates ever. Plus, enjoy up to $17,000 on select models. No VAT and no down payment. Drive away with finance with Horsefoots and get free bill of sale, free servicing for 12 months, free registration, free tinting, and even free groceries or gas for 3 months. Because the right time is here for the right vehicle with the right deal right now. Visit Horsefoots Automotive right now. Drive smart. Drive Horsefoots. Terms and conditions apply.
And I'm back. The time is 11:43, and yeah, this SSV thing is not going to go away anytime soon. Hello, caller.
Quinn, it's
Yes.
me again.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be as quick as possible. Just a few things, but hoping to be as quick as possible. Number one, not only do we need to know how to negotiate, I think even before that, we need to know what we should negotiate about
Yeah.
and what we should not negotiate about.
I agree.
And government government should not need to negotiate over people's private lands with others. As a matter of fact, if the government was to negotiate concerning this landing, the government was supposed to first go to the people who own the land and tell the land, hey, this is what such and such come to me about, and let me tell y'all, may negotiate in your land because your land is precious to y'all, and when they come to y'all, don't sell them your land. That is what should have been done in the first place. Because we need to, first of all, need to know what to negotiate about and what not to negotiate about, let alone how the government should have been negotiating with these people.
And our government, and I put the emphasis on we the people's government, should not be negotiating, as we've seen being done on both the federal level and on the Nevis level for developers. They have it wrong. It is completely upside down.
Right.
The government, if you want to negotiate with the developers for whatever, but then when you come back to the people, you should not be trying to sell to the people that this is what the developers want. You should let the developers represent that themselves.
Right, and go and talk to the people, because you, the government, ain't own the land, and you, the government, should tell the people, should be educating the people and tell people, hey, let me tell you all something. Don't negotiate away your land. Keep your land. Develop your land, because you don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
That's what they should also be telling the people. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, but you see, when people love money, we do all kind of foolishness because money blinds us.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bible says. Secondly, let me also say this. Let me say this. Good day, Miss Henry. Good day, keep on forgetting to say good day to you. Let me say this. You know, me and Miss Henry and Cleo, we have a lot of big differences between us. Serious Bible differences, okay? And I don't believe in women pastors. I see that is forbidden by the Bible. I don't believe in all of that and that's sort of stuff, women pastors also. But let me say this, in spite of the tremendous differences, and I think that the thing Ms. Henry does say that is theoretical, and not only that, I really ignore her statement about me only doing one-sided research. I would really ignore that because that's not really true. But in spite of all of that, here, let me tell you something. I will quicker have Miss Henry and Cleo to be my pastors than these other pastors, because at least they got the balls to stand up and argue the point publicly.
I respect that.
And the Bible.
I respect that. And I'm glad you said it too, yeah.
Yes, I will quicker any day choose them to be my pastors than all of these other pastors around here who cower in and that sort of stuff. Okay, okay? So let me say that. Another thing, because I want to finish quickly. Let me make my points quickly. Another thing that I like to tell Johnny, Europeans did not write the Bible. They only translated it. Chinese translated it in the language. European translated it in the languages, including the King James Version. Imperfect. Indians translated it in the languages, and so on and so on. Everybody translated it in the Bible in the languages. But the Bible was actually written by ancient Jews.
Okay.
Such as King David, Moses, and so on. And lastly, could I say quickly? Yesterday we spoke about alcoholic beverages, and I would like to say this quickly. I believe drinking alcoholic beverages is not wrong. Drunkenness is wrong. And I'm waiting for somebody who said that drinking alcoholic beverages is wrong. I would like them to explain Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 26, where God tell his people in celebrating his feast, they could and encourage, they could buy wine, strong drink, and so on as the appetite desires, and consume them to the celebration of his feast in Deuteronomy 14, verse 26. And pastors who try to make drinking wrong, who try to say drinking wrong, and eating certain things wrong, and you must keep certain days, Romans 14 call them the weaker brethren, and weaker brethren should not be pastors. Only strong Christian, mature Christian people should be pastors, not weaker brethren who restrict people from eating this, drinking this, and that sort of stuff. Thank you, Quinn. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, I had another caller, but you see, I had my finger on that button, and once I have my finger on that button, hello, caller.
Yes. Good day, Quinn, man. How you doing, man?
I'm cool.
Greg is still on the other line?
No, he's already left.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to thank the callers so far for the day. Yeah. Let me just chime in real quick. I'm gonna just say this, man. Quint, right before that last break, I think you were making some great utterances there. We know what a report card is, right? In terms of Mark, we got to just look at the report card. It's a lot of projects that's on Nevis that's stalled out and can't be completed. And it just seems like you were saying before the break, that why didn't we take the baby steps? If somebody can't manage or somebody can't complete an addition on a house, a one bedroom, they can't put on a one bedroom on a house in 8 years. They can't put on an addition on a hospital in 8 years. This is very, it's very disappointing, man. We got to look at the failed projects, the stalled out projects. And then now we are seeing you can't manage a small project, and then instead of taking some baby steps, you want to go take this big giant step.
And not only take a giant step, but you want to take a giant step where we lose autonomy, where we lose power. I mean, that is important. And that is what I referred to when I said, look at the history, look at his history. You call it report card. I say his history.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The history is sometimes what we only have to go on because, somebody can promise you something today, they can renege. Things can fall through.
And I'll tell you this. You see all this bandying about all these people are so rich and so on. I put a question mark to that. This is the problem. You cannot go into a negotiating room telling yourself this person is so rich and they're so rich, they're way ahead of you. You're going with a question mark. Here's why I question whether they're so rich. If you're so rich, we know rich people don't waste time and money.
No, they don't.
You understand? Rich people, they didn't waste time. They got their money and now they don't waste time because money is time and time is investment. So if you're so rich, why is it that you target these small islands down here and you're so persistent and now you're so rich but you're now coming on our local media to try to sell yourself and you're so rich and you're making statements like, if you didn't want this, if you don't want this, we just take it somewhere else and then you regret it. That sounds like psychology. You understand?
There you go, Quinn. There you go.
Rich people come, they say, look, this is what we put on the table, blah, blah, blah. If they find negotiations ain't going, time stalling, this, that, they move on. You understand?
They move on.
Why is it that you're so rich and you're not going other places? Why you're putting emphasis on this small little island? There are other islands around the world. There are big places that, why? You see, we don't do that. Because they're white, they come and we say, oh, well, they're rich. Maybe they have somebody in there. This one who over at Christoph Harbor, we hear that he's rich. Next thing you hear, he's tied up in court with all kind of this and that. He has yachts, he has this, he has house, he has land. But there's question as to this. The certain places courts are putting claim on some of the things that he owns. You understand? So we need to stop buying into this thing that these people, some of them are rich because they exploit people. And now it is catching up on them and they might very well lose a lot of the riches they had. You understand? Some of them are using Some of them are using rich in front to get rich.
But Quinn, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis should not stand for this. Trust me on that. I came into the Federation 2015 and seen the mobilization with team unity structure, and they disappointed the people at the end. We can't see the future. All the years of that CBI program, the money did not trickle down to the working class. Now, if this was such of a great project coming to Nevis, this Destiny project, and he was moved, the premier was going to move in the terms of trying to diversify or whatever, right? Why is only one realtor company is going as a go-between? What happened to the other realtor companies? If this was such of a legitimate thing and to be beneficial to the country, why is only one person as a realtor is being offered that go-between?
That is a big question that we've been asking for the longest while. Why all the wealth seems to be in a microcosm, in a one family structure? Why? You understand?
And this is what Nevis and thinking people got to look at. Quinn, there's a clip circulating with Brantley, right, the premier. He was chastising Timothy Harris about that prison project, and 5,500 passports, was going to be distributed to those persons. And he is standing on a podium with the pan backdrop. And then now he is doing the same thing or even to a higher magnitude.
He's not doing the same thing. He's not doing the same thing. This is worse because you're talking about you. I mean, you see the size of that land?
Man, this is what... Gosh.
Yeah, anyway, I'm going to have to wrap up anytime soon, so...
Okay, well, lastly, let me just state my piece like I normally do to the St. Kitts and Nevis citizens. Rise up and stand up and stop these corrupted politicians. And I'll leave it there, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, go ahead, caller. Be brief.
Yes, Quinn. I can say, Quinn, you were really on fire today. And Greg was on fire today, too. And I'm going to tell you, I condone with all of you. But last but not least, SSD zone, man, has under our leaders, and they are going to rob Peter to pay Paul. Believe it or not, they ain't got no wealth like what is presumed to be. They ain't got none. They're going to do the same concept like Christoph Harbour, Buddy Darby, and I end that there. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about this zone again. It's up for the people to go in the street and protest to get this zone repealed, and no more deal, no more advancement until after election.
Yeah. Yeah, in closing, I'm going to say this. Look, we as a people, we need to stop and we as a black people, let me put the emphasis there because a lot of people don't like it, but in the Caribbean region, we are majority of black people. We know the history. You understand? And we don't have to apologize to anyone. We don't have to cover our mouths to say we remember our history. 400 years of oppression. We have no wish to go back down that road. And we will not accept leaders who want to push us back down that road. We will not accept leaders who don't seem to be mature enough to understand when you make a mistake that you need to make an about turn. I've often said I was a juvenile delinquent. Every police on St. Kitts knew me. Soon as something happened, they'll come over. My mother would say, the next time you come, make sure you have evidence against my son, because every bad thing, it was me. Come, yeah. A lot of the times I didn't do this thing, but my reputation was such that they felt, well, as soon as something happened, go for Miss Laurie's son. You understand? But why I'm here today? Because I never blamed them. I hear young people getting problem. well, it was he. I never did that. I own up to my problems. I own up to the mistakes I made. I knew why I did what I did. And at some point, because I knew and I owned up to them, I had to sit down and say to myself, well, boy, you're going to continue down this road or you're going to make a change because this ain't going to work out good for you, So you want to tell me our leaders don't know this? We're human. You make mistakes. You know when you lay down in your bed at night, those things confront you. But you choose to be stubborn, foolishly so. And so you're going to dig yourself in a deeper hole? So you want to tell me everyone in the federal cabinet? I'm not even going to bring in Mark because Mark seemed to be bent. But you want to tell me everyone in the federal cabinet, nobody realized that this is going down a wrong rabbit hole, and nobody has the guts to say, look, we got to stem this, even if it means we're going to pull this and try to find a way to, if we're going to bring back something, it's going to be in a whole different form. At what point do you own up to your mistake and make changes? This is one of the things that is killing us as a black people. As a black people, we don't have a problem going at our own. We don't have a problem killing our own. We don't have a problem denigrating our own. But soon as somebody comes from another skin pigmentation, we put them up on a pedestal. We hear the rich, we accept the rich. I bet if some black person come and you hear the rich, you look at them, you see the black thing, you say, rich? I ain't believe you rich because you see black. And black to you, your own color is inferior to you because you've been brainwashed for 400 years to believe that your color is inferior. Well, I never bought into that. That is why even when I was a juvenile delinquent, I could make an about turn because I knew that I came from royalty. I came from a history that didn't start with the enslavement of my people. I knew that. And so I could make an about turn because I knew in knowing my history before slavery, before my foreparents were enslaved, I knew that within me was the potential to make changes and to be great. That potential is within every one of you. Stop thinking that your color is the worst. You adopt everything everybody do. All someone has to say is, boy, that's the in thing, that's the now, and you follow it. And what is it doing for you? That is how I'm going to end things for today. Sorry, I get emotional. That is why, again, I say, this is why when you see me, I walk alone, This is why you don't see me, not that I'm not pompous, I'm not segregated, but I'm a deep person. My time is important to me. I don't waste my time on trivial, insignificant thing. We only walk across the face of this earth in this skin pigmentation one time. Don't waste it.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.